are you, and what rock and roll group are you from?
I'm Poison Ivy. I'm in the Cramps.
Who are the other members of the rock and roll group, the Cramps?
Lux Interior, Candy Del Mar, and Nick Knox.
What would you say the average age of the rock and roll band, the Cramps, is, Poison Ivy? Like, how long has the Cramps been around rock and rolling? Well, how about, what is different about the Cramps right now? Hello, Miss Ivy, are you there? Hello? I guess maybe I cannot hear you, but you might just be able to hear me. Interesting concept. Hello? Ivy, are you there still? Hello? Ivy, are you there? Poison Ivy of the Cramps? Vancouver, BC calling.
Belle, who's your favorite singer?
Lux Interior. Alex, who most influenced your drumming?
Nick Knox.
Do the Hammerlock.
Who would you most like to date in the world? I guess Poison Ivy.
Going down to Lonesome Town.
Screw Iceland! It's the Cramps! Join Nick Knox, Poison Ivy, Lux Interior, and new fur baby, Candy Del Mar. For a real CITR Jungle Hop, April 12th at the Commodore Ballroom. Okay, guys, kick it!
Well, come on, little mama, let's tear this damn place up. Give me girls with my machine gun dog.
Well, everybody's heard about the bird.
Cleo, Cleo, do you love me? Cleo, Cleo, do you love me? Do you love me? Do you love me? Cleo, do you love me? Oh, do you love me? Thank you, Cleo. You love me. Do you love me? You're listening to the Nardwuar, the Human Serviette Show on CITR 13, up to 102 FM. 102, that is. Remember I was trying to talk to you before from Switzerland?
Yeah, I remember I called you from Marseille, and I was just getting a bunch of noise.
Did you hear me at all on your end?
No, I didn't. I thought you were rewinding your machine or something.
No, I kept on saying, Ivy, Vancouver phoning.
No, I couldn't hear her voice. I heard a huge, loud, kind of screaming squeak.
But now you're back, Miss Poison Ivy.
Uh-huh.
And you're back where?
In Los Angeles.
Yeah, and after a big European tour?
Uh-huh.
How did that go? Like, you got back from Marseille, France.
What about Marseille?
How did that gig go?
Oh, it was great. Marseille was wonderful. Yeah, it was like in a big kind of tent stadium thing.
What about after Marseille? Where did the tour lead you then?
Then we went to Spain, which was sort of our favorite place. We went to Barcelona and Valencia on the Spanish coast, and those were really great shows.
Have the Cramps ever been to Vancouver, BC before?
Oh, yeah, lots of times.
Yeah? Do you know anybody famous from Vancouver, BC?
No, I don't.
Nobody famous? Like, have you ever heard of Yvonne DeCarlo?
Oh, I didn't know she was from Vancouver.
Yeah, Yvonne DeCarlo from the Munsters.
Oh, sure. Lily, yeah. Darling Lily.
Errol Flynn, you know Errol Flynn?
Of course, yeah, I didn't know he was from there either.
Well, he died of like a cocaine overdose in like the British properties in Vancouver.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Russ Meyer's movie Vixen, ever seen that movie Vixen?
Sure.
Yeah, filmed in Vancouver. Well, around Vancouver in Victoria.
Uh-huh.
So nobody else you're familiar with Vancouver before? Or?
Not until you'd mention them. I don't realize that they're from Vancouver.
When was your first time here?
Oh boy, let me think. It was probably, might have been in 81 or 82.
Do you remember anything about the gig?
Yeah, we played, the first show we did there was Commodore Ballroom.
Yeah?
And, which is what we're doing again this time. It's a real nice place. Yeah, one of the things I remember is the guy brought me, the guitar I'd been playing was a Lewis, which was a Canadian make, and I'd never seen another one, and I found an ad for another one when I was in Vancouver, and the guy brought it to the gig to show it to me, and I bought it.
Really? So you have a piece of a Vancouver instrument then?
I do.
Do you still have it?
Yeah, I do. My Lewis. Yeah, it's not what I'll be playing live on this tour, but I have it. It's a great guitar.
What?
That's what I played Surfin' Dead on.
Yeah, on Grievous Hits?
No, on the movie soundtrack, Return of the Living Dead.
At the beginning of that movie, the Return of the Living Dead, Surfing Dead is the tune, isn't it? Do you do?
Yep.
What at the beginning of the tune, you shout some obscure rockabilly lyric from some song. Isn't there some song that you allude to at the beginning of that? Doesn't Lux shout out?
It's Lux.
He says some sort of line about sweetness or something like that. Or
no, he says my favorite brain soup, cream of nowhere.
Isn't that an allusion to like some obscure rockabilly tune?
No, the cream of nowhere is from some beatnik thing, I think, from Pete Myers. But the brain soup thing isn't.
What about like the old, you've covered a few old ancient rockabilly tunes and stuff like that. Do any, old rockabilly guys come up to you and ever get mad that like perhaps you're borrowing or honoring them by playing their tunes?
No, I've never had anybody be mad. I don't think what we should do should provoke them to be mad because we are honoring them. We've met some rockabilly guys from doing what we do. We've met Sleepy LaBeef, and we've met Ursula Hickey, and there's a lot more I'd like to meet.
But they've never been upset or mad that you took their song or played it in concert or anything like that? Like, Hazel Atkins?
No, I mean, they should be honored that we cover their songs and credit them. I can't imagine why somebody would be mad about something like that. They'd have to be out of their minds.
Like, what about, like,
the only thing I heard of someone being mad was Rufus Thomas because Can Your Pussy Do the Dog is inspired by his songs, The Dog, Can Your Monkey Do the Dog, and I think he didn't like the obscene way that we evolved the dog.
So he actually heard about the song then?
Yeah, I think it was pointed out to him when he was in France.
What type of backup groups did a Cramps get associated with? Like, when you play a gig, what sort of groups do you attract? Like, a backup band that would play with you.
Oh, you mean an opening band?
Yeah. Anybody interesting that you've got?
Well, the show we just did at the Town and Country in London was great. We had, some of them were friends of ours, but there was a band called Ugg and the Cavemen who do, they dress up like cavemen, and the guys like barefoot wearing a leopard skin print thing. And they do all like caveman songs. They do Go Gorilla and Be a Caveman, all these covers like caveman things. They threw bananas at the audience. And then they brought Elvis out on stage, this incredible Elvis impersonator that was this Vegas guy who's living in England, I guess, for some tax problem or something. They brought him out during their show. So that was a good opening show.
What about has REM ever backed up the Cramps?
No, they haven't. No, I've never seen REM.
You've never seen REM?
No. I hear this band, the Dio Jets, that's opening for us. It's supposed to be pretty good, kind of rockabilly guitar.
Yeah, I think they were featured in that movie from about the Athens, Georgia scene or something. Inside Out or something.
I don't know.
But I was also wondering, has Jello Biafra ever grooved to the Cramps before? From the Dead Kennedys?
I don't know.
Have you ever seen the Dead Kennedys before?
I've seen them on film. I haven't seen them live.
Because they were, of course, featured in that great movie that you guys were in.
Right, in Erg. That's probably where I've seen them, I guess. Yeah.
What about the rest of the Cramps? How did you all, meet? Were you in a record store and you were both looking at a rare Hazel Atkins single and you both tried to grab it at the same time? Is that how you met?
No. Actually, when we met Candy, we were trying to grab a parking spot at the same time. We were in the parking lot of a liquor store, and we both were, and it's, they didn't have enough parking spots for the store, and we were both kind of challenging each other for the parking spot, and then she recognized me and Lux, and that's how we met. Nick we've known forever, it seems, and he was, we were introduced to him from a friend of ours from Cleveland knew Nick and knew that we needed a drummer.
He was in a band, the Electric Eels,
Yeah, he
wasn't
was
he?
in Electric Eels, and this guy Bradley, who's dead now, introduced us to him.
Were you from Cleveland originally? You and Lux?
No, Lux is from Akron, and Nick is from Cleveland.
And what about yourself, Ivy?
I'm from many places, mainly I was in Sacramento when I met Lux.
How did you meet? Were you were you in a department store and your
No,
two?
I was hitchhiking.
Yeah?
He picked me up.
And then did you decide to form a band right off the bat to try to make money?
No, we didn't do that for a while. We were pretty much just interested in each other for quite a while.
What about other interestingly enough, on most of your records, you and Lux write most of the songs, don't you?
Right?
Is that sort
all
of
the Cramps songs, yeah.
Is that sort of a Jagger Richards sort of thing, would you say? Like, well, how does Nick and the rest of the members, how did they feel about that?
They don't write songs. Lux and I do. We write the songs in the Cramps. The other members are happy. They like the songs we write. I think they enjoy playing them. So they're happy with that situation.
Because you know how, the Stones went on tour recently? I heard that they went on tour because, you see, Jagger and Richards are the only ones that get the royalty credits, right?
Uh-huh.
So they had to go on tour so they could put Ron Wood's kids through school.
Yeah.
So, like the rest of the Cramps, you're not going on tour to put their kids through school or anything like that,
We're
are you?
going on tour because we love to play live, and I think a lot of people dig seeing us. That's why we go on tour.
What about fanzines? Do you have any favorite fanzines that you like?
Yeah, I liked one, I think it's done now, Sleazoid Express was a good one. I like the little magazine that Hollywood Book and Poster puts out.
What about Kix fanzine?
Not that one's a little too kind of anthropological. It's kind of like from the Margaret Mead point of view of look what I dug up.
What about, don't you have some
They're not real, they're not like the people they write about.
Don't you have some association in the shady past, dear Ivy, with Miriam from Kix fanzine?
She was a drummer briefly in the Cramps a long time ago. At that particular time, she disliked rockabilly. She didn't like the music that we make, and she was putting it down all the time. All she liked was the Dictators and various new bands, and she thought that was garbage. And now she writes about it and says she loves it, so beats me.
What about Ugly Things fanzine? That's put up by Mike Stax of the Telltale Hearts.
I haven't seen that one.
It glorifies the British rock and roll scene.
I'm not familiar with it.
Do you think the Cramps are interested in the pretty things?
We're crazy about the pretty things.
And
yeah.
You should check that one out because he does. And the Downliners Sect.
Yeah. No, I love all that stuff. I love all the English, great, all the 60s R&B thing before everything got too psychedelic.
What about the one other fanzine here? What about Psychotronic Video?
Oh, that's a great magazine. Yeah, we're friends with Michael Weldon, who puts that out, and that's a great magazine. Yeah.
He was involved in he was in the Electric Eels, wasn't he?
No, he wasn't. But Nick's known him for a long time. They know each other somehow from Cleveland.
So you were,
unless he was in it, I didn't know it. But he wasn't in the band when Nick was in the band.
You were introduced to Nick through Michael Weldon, or no, who was one of your friends?
That's Bradley Field.
What about? Didn't Nick's brother once play in the Cramps?
His cousin did. His cousin Ike.
Yeah. How did that last for? How long did that was after Brian Gregory left?
Oh, way after. That was after Kid, and after I guess that was right after Kid for a while, and then we had another guy playing Click Mort for a while, and then Ike played with us again for a tour. He was just helping us out kind of as a favor because we didn't have anyone to tour with.
So Brian Gregory was the first guitarist aside from yourself then?
I guess so, yeah.
And then you had Kid Congo, and then what other guitarists have the Cramps churned out since then?
Ike Knox, Click Mort. That's it. As far as we had various people hired. This girl Fur was hired. She had her own band that was hired and played for about 2 months with us.
What's she
There
doing
was
now?
a girl named Julian, I'd forgotten. Actually, before Kid was a girl named Julian Grindsnatch, and she's in the Erg movie with us.
What about other Vancouver bands? Do you know any Vancouver bands at all?
I don't think so.
DOA? Ever heard of them?
No.
No Means No?
Pardon me?
No Means No? Another rock and roll band. The Young Fresh. Any Seattle bands you associated with?
No, I've heard there's a good scene there, but I haven't heard it. I just, maybe we're too busy. I just haven't heard the bands yet.
What about down in are you phoning from your house or, Ivy?
Yes, I am.
So do you guys live at like 137.5 North Hollywood Avenue?
No.
Oh, somebody once told me that you guys live at like in a half avenue or something like that. But on an evening in Hollywood, you go out and groove to the scene, like check out new bands at all?
Not very much. We mainly kind of have our own little world here, but we go out once in a while. But
what about Red?
Some friends, but we mainly kind of keep to ourselves.
What about Red Cross? Are they sort of the bastard heavy metal sons of the Cramps at all?
Oh, they're good. I don't know if they're any of those things, but they're a fun band. And I dig watching them. They're the cool band to see.
What about the Crusher? You know that singer that used "Do the Hammerlock." How did you guys find that single? Like, did European? How come no Europeans stole it from you before you could, How come you got to it first? How did you get the Crusher?
Well, I don't know why we got it first. We got it off a compilation album that we'd found in England, and we were at Miles Copeland's house. We were staying there because we were going to be playing at the Lyceum in London. We bought the record in the afternoon, went home and played it on his record player. Decided to play it that night at the Lyceum. Everybody figured out that was pretty close to Drug Train, so that we figured we already kind of knew it. And that's the first time we did it. Was the same day that we bought the record.
Do you get a lot of your songs off compilations at all, or do you go to a lot of record swap meets and stuff like that?
We got a collection of originals. We have compilations. We get them wherever we can. Whatever. We're not too picky.
How about Mick Jagger? Have you ever met Mick Jagger or Ray Davies before, any of those?
No, I haven't, no.
Do you ever express a desire to, do you think?
No, not particular. I certainly admire Ray Davies a lot, but I almost don't feel a need to meet people, even the ones that I really admire. I just, maybe I'm shy.
Well, I'm sure you're not. You're a wonderful guitarist for the Cramps.
Yeah.
What about Iggy Pop?
Well, I have met him. We played with him in New York at this place called the Palladium in New York, and we opened for him on Halloween once.
How did that go?
Great. It was a gas.
Was that in the Brian Gregory era?
Probably. I'm not sure.
Who did you play your first gig with?
Well, the first thing we did was we auditioned played CBGB the same night the Dead Boys were playing. And the first real gig we had was with Suicide, a band out of New York that used to play pretty frequently in the late 70s, and we were kind of a regular co-bill with Suicide. They headlined and we'd open for them. And then we played with Ramones a lot in New York. So
you've met Joey Ramone then?
Oh yeah, we've known him for years.
Is he a great influence on the Cramps, do you think at all?
Not directly. I think the Ramones did inspire us a lot. When we got to New York, we saw them, just the crazy energy of them. I think they inspired us and we inspired them, apparently.
Are there many Cramps bootlegs around? Like I mentioned earlier about, Miriam.
Yeah, it seems like about 100.
Do you, like one songs we taught the Cramps, have you seen that one?
I've seen a lot, yeah, I think I've seen that one.
Because it's got a picture of Miriam on it, right? It says Miriam wears gloves when she plays the drums. Are you ever angered by all these, bootlegs that come out?
Well, to some degree, because for several reasons, what they do is they exploit our fans. They are usually horrible quality. They cost the earth. They're usually $30 and up, and they're packaged in a deliberately misleading way. They'll retitle songs to make. A lot of our fans want to own every song we ever covered, so what these bootlegs will do is retitle them. They'll give a new title to a previous song of ours. They'll call Psychotic Reaction is called A Walk Down Broadway. They'll call Bacon Fat Big and Fat. And these are deliberate attempts to, suck money off our fans.
Have you ever tried any legal action with that?
Not yet. I mean, maybe now with the real record company, there might be some effect against it. I really don't know. It's, life's short, full of stuff. We don't have time to be messing with all those people.
You know, you guys were featured in that video live at Napa State Mental Hospital.
Right.
Was that a real, actual show then?
Yeah, it was.
How did that go over? How did that get arranged? Did you just, you know?
I don't know. At that time, I think it was Howie Klein or somebody in San Francisco had set that up. I don't. At the time, somebody was making arrangements for us. We just showed up and played, but yeah, it was a real gig.
It's an amazing show, featuring featuring a lot of Brian Gregory on there. Where's he nowadays? Is he still around L.A. at all or Hollywood?
No, not at all. We haven't kept in touch for about 10 years.
Really?
We're not friends.
Was he a bad boy to the Cramps?
We're not friends.
What about other movies that the Cramps may have been featured in? Near Dark, weren't you featured in that movie?
Yeah, Fever was featured in the scene in the bar where they're like slitting everybody's throats. That was sort of the background to it.
And The Boys Next Door with Charlie Sheen?
Yeah, there were several songs in that, 3 of them in there.
And you got something like I Got Nothing But Iggy? Was that the name of the song?
Huh?
I heard like in Boys Next Door that it's not like I got nothing but a gorehound. I got nothing but Iggy. Is that what it is?
No.
Oh,
by
really?
us?
Yeah.
No, the only thing by us is just things off of our IRS albums that they licensed from IRS. I don't. Nothing's different.
Who do you think is the Cramps' biggest critic?
Oh, I have no idea. I'm not sure that we would pay that much attention to the Cramps' biggest critic. Who it might be.
Who do you think the Cramps' biggest fan is? Besides me, of course, Nardwuar, the human serviette, your interviewer here.
Oh, I don't know. I don't think any individual. I think it would be unfair to pick an individual. I think the biggest fan is just someone who likes us just for what we do, you know, our records and our shows, and doesn't expect more from us than that. Doesn't need to, you know, haunt us or go through our garbage or anything like that. That would be the biggest, truest fan.
What about Sam C. Phillips? You recorded at his studio. Is he still alive, Sam
Phillips?
Phillips?
Oh, he certainly is. He's alive and very kicking, very youthful, young. I think he's a vampire because he looks younger now than he did in the 50s.
So you recorded your what songs the Lord taught us there?
Yes.
Where did you record this new present album, Stay Sick?
We recorded it. We tracked it at a studio called Music Grinder in Hollywood, which is a great studio. It has this huge room. I think it used to be a brewery or some kind of factory, and it looks almost like an aircraft hangar. It's just all wood and concrete, and we tracked all the drums in there. And then we mixed at a studio called Record One, which is a studio owned by Ocean Way, which is really the best studio in Hollywood, in L.A., and maybe in the world.
And this time you assumed you produced the Cramps.
Oh, I really have on all of them to some degree, you know. But it just kind of was meaningless to just keep saying the Cramps because I was producing them.
Have you done any other artists before? Like, did you ever get requests to do any other?
We've produced the Mad Daddies, a group from New Jersey, and another New Jersey group called the Sick Kids, and these are people who are friends of ours from back east.
Are the Sick Kids still around?
No, they're not, no.
Ben Vaughn, wasn't he in the Sick Kids?
He's involved with them off and on. There's a group now called Pink Slip Daddy with some of the members, and he's involved with that too, and I think they just came out with a new release.
Have you seen their new record at all?
Yeah.
It's really neat with the grooves and all that?
Yeah.
Like 2 songs on one groove.
Right, yeah, that's pretty revolutionary, yeah.
What do you think? Have you guys ever been to Disneyland before, Ivy?
Oh, we sure have.
What do you think? What is the most dangerous ride at Disneyland?
Dangerous? I heard that somebody was killed on the Matterhorn, so I think that would rate as pretty dangerous.
I heard that the People Mover is, believe it or not.
Really? Well, that could be, but somebody did die on the Matterhorn.
Really?
Yep. I forget what the reason was, if it was because they were drunk or it was because of the Matterhorn, I don't know.
What do you think of the New York Dolls? Are they a big influence on the Cramps?
Oh, huge. We loved the Dolls. We saw them a bunch of times, and I think that was really the final band that made the Cramps, you know, form. Made us, you know, we had to have a band. It's the energy of the New York Dolls. I think that's one of the best bands there ever was. What's
Buster Poindexter doing now? What do you think of what he's doing now?
Oh, I guess since he was in the Dolls, it's good that he's enjoying himself or doing well. If if he's happy doing what he's doing, I guess he's earned it from having been in the Dolls. I'm certainly not interested in that particular thing that he's doing now. But I mean, he is David Johansen, and they really did something. The Dolls really did something special. There's such magic.
Have hallucinogenics ever played a part in the Cramps act?
I suppose that's just one of our many influences. I mean, we've all done them, so you can't turn back on that. There's no going backwards there. So that's definitely an influence.
What do you think your Poison Ivy? What is your favorite poison?
Oh my!
Come on, you know the answer.
No, I don't.
It's on one of your records.
Well, no,
Strychnine.
Yeah, only in moments of supreme faith. Actually, we just came from Spain, and we were really hoping, we didn't have time, we were really hoping to find some absinthe there, because it's something that's very hard to get except in Spain and parts of Europe, and I've never tried it, so I was kind of intrigued by that.
What Canadian groups have you ever heard of, like Bob and Lucille, the Canadian Sweethearts? Ever heard of them?
Yeah, I forget what their song was. That was like a 50s.
Eeny, meeny, miny, mo.
Oh, right.
Ronnie Hawkins?
Oh, he's amazing. Yeah, that was like some of the first stereo records with Ronnie Hawkins and the Hawks. It's really great stuff.
Gordon Lightfoot?
Not someone I follow.
Neil Young?
Some of what he does is wild. He can be a really wild, raunchy guitar player. So there's some of his stuff I've liked.
Deja Voodoo? Ever heard of Deja Voodoo before?
No, I think I've heard their name.
Because they're from Montreal.
Yeah, but I haven't seen them.
And so you're not really the Canadian groups. None of them you can think of offhand. Katie Lang. Ever heard of Katie Lang? She's a Canadian country star.
Oh, the country singer. Yeah.
She does the song Bopalina. Bopalina, Bopalina.
Yeah.
Yeah, she does that.
She does.
Yeah.
The Ronnie Self song.
Yeah, pretty cool.
I just heard by Ronnie Self.
It's pretty cool, eh?
Yeah.
And she's on a major label, just like you.
Yeah.
How was it like? Are Enigma treating the Cramps nicely? Are we gonna?
They sure are.
They are.
They're just.
Hopefully, they're paying for this phone call. Hopefully, right?
Well, we have an unusual deal. Even a lot of major artists don't have the kind of deal we do. They've given us complete artistic freedom, and not only at our request, but they really want us to have it. I think they really kind of impressed that we've proven something by now, and so it's a nice position to be in. I mean, they really are getting behind us, just doing what we do. They're not, trying to change us, and they seem to be taking us quite seriously, and I appreciate that.
Have you ever met Russ Meyer before?
No, I haven't.
Have you ever thought of getting him to direct one of your videos?
We've entertained the thought. I don't think he's interested in doing that kind of thing. He did do a video for a band called Faster Pussycat, and it didn't look anything like his own work. If you understand me, it didn't look anything like Russ Meyer work. So I kind of wonder about doing a video with him.
What about Peter Lorre? Is he a nice influence on the Cramps, would you say?
Peter Lorre, oh, well, I love him. I'm sure he's influenced, I couldn't name any direct way, but I'm sure just his sense of drama is probably influenced us, and his sick sense of humor. He has a very sick sense of humor, very serious and scary at the same, funny and scary at the same time.
Are there any movie appearances or TV appearances coming up for the Cramps in the future?
Yeah, actually today, we're doing a TV thing today for a show called After Hours, and
oh, really? With that one?
The doorbell ringing now. They're about to come here and do it. Yeah. And we did a lot of television in Europe.
What is the most mismatched gig do you think the Cramps have ever done? Like you guys playing with New Order or Depeche Mode or anything like that?
Let me think. Probably a show we did in Dallas, Texas once at some small club, and we're sandwiched in between two bands that both were like huge guys with beards, and it was in Texas. And both the opening act, we were the middle bill in the opening act, and the headlining act did like Jimi Hendrix songs and Doobie Brothers songs and stuff. And we were in the middle of that in Texas, and we were not welcome there. And that was kind of frightening.
You guys have toured all over the States, haven't you? Like every single town, like major town have you hit?
No.
No, eh?
No, in fact, this tour will probably be more extensive than any we've done, because we're doing a lot of cities we weren't able to do before until we had the record deal.
So do you think once you come up here and play Vancouver, you're going to go back into the States and play?
Yeah, we're just starting in Vancouver, but it's an American tour. We'll go on to Seattle, Portland, Salt Lake City, Denver.
And then take a break, or?
Briefly, yeah. We'll be touring through the end of June.
So you might come back to Vancouver then, if the crowd is crazy and wild?
Yeah, I don't know when. It'd be hard to say.
Do you think it possibly will be in the next year then?
I couldn't say. I just don't know because I don't know where else we're going to be going.
Any other records on Stay Sick? First off, that you've used that motto before, haven't you?
It's just a motto from there's a horror movie host called Ghoulardi, like a Ghoulardi, based in Cleveland, and both Lux and Nick, who are from there, were really influenced by him, and that was one of his kind of phrases. This guy was like a early '60s guy. I don't even know what area he's from, but he'd say "Stay sick, turn blue." He'd blow up things on TV and with firecrackers and stuff.
Do you think Ivy? Thanks very much for your time here talking to me.
Yes, I do got to get going now.
But I was wondering, do you think that John F. Kennedy possibly was murdered by Richard Nixon and the CIA?
Boy, I don't know anything about that. I'm afraid that's not my one of my big departments there.
American politics?
Yeah, I guess I don't think I'm too authoritative on that one way or the other.
What about Canadian politics? Do you ever hear?
Less.
Do you know who the Prime Minister of Canada is?
No, I